Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 3 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 brand new Halloween themed projects to make with a Cricut machine over 20 days. Today we're making a greetings card, and it's not just a super spooky haunted house greetings card as you might believe. This card has a little interactive secret. There's a wheel over here on the right hand side, and as that's turned, let's try and show it on camera. Little pictures appear in all of the windows of the house as it goes around, and you get different pictures the more you turn the wheel. This is really simple to make, even though it looks super complicated, and it's definitely something a little bit different for Halloween. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just this design at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Halloween. The designs will appear here each day once they become available to buy. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Before we start the project, let's take a look at one of the materials that you'll need to make it, and that is funky foam or fun foam. This helps to add some weight and also some height to the wheel inside the card so that it's easier to turn. It doesn't really matter what colour you choose because you'll only see the very edges of it. I've used a black for my actual card, which is here. You see this is what it's going to do. But if you have a different colour, that's absolutely fine. You'll only see just how it looks from those sides. You won't see the front or the back. This is funky foam. I think I got it from the Range in the UK, but you can also get it on Amazon or any other online or probably most physical craft stores, and it's 2mm thick. This can be cut with any of the Cricut Explore machines or the Maker machines. So any of the different versions in those series of machines can cut the fun foam if you've got one of these blades. Any of the Explore or the Maker models can use the deep point blade. It comes in this black holder. It's a little bit stronger and goes a little bit deeper down than the regular blade, which means it can get through the fun foam. If you've got a Cricut Maker, Maker 3 or Maker 4, then you can also use the knife blade. This is the one that looks like a scalpel inside of there. And both of these will work for the fun foam. You might find, especially with the deep point blade, that it kind of drags the foam a little bit. Now that doesn't really matter because we're only really using it as a way of getting our finger to have some grip on the wheel to make it easier to turn. So if it tears or doesn't do a perfect job, that's okay, it won't matter. And mine, I've just noticed actually, the middle hole hasn't popped through. That you definitely will need because otherwise it won't go together. So let's just poke that hole through. As well as the fun foam, the other slightly unusual item that you'll need for this particular craft is a brad or a push pin. You only need one. So for example, we've got these ones or these ones. They're the same. It's just these ones are a little bit smaller and these ones are black. So it's a pin that's got two little legs on it. We'll be threading it through the middle of all these circles, and then you open out the sides and it will hold everything in place but still allow your wheel to turn around. So just one of those is enough for this project. And then everything else is just cardstock and glue and foam squares, which you've probably already got in your craft stash. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the things that are a little bit more unusual than what we normally work with over here at Craft with Sarah. Now that we've gone through that, let's get the file uploaded into Design Space and get started with our Turn the Wheel Haunted House card. Okay, I'm jumping back in before we get to that because I just realised actually it would probably be helpful to go through what you'll need for the print and cut too. I'm using matte photo paper for mine. You could use glossy photo paper, normal photo paper, white cardstock, whatever you want that your printer can print on. So this does need a colour printer for this particular project. And yeah, that's it. You'll need a colour printer. You'll need something that you can print onto. And now that is it, I think. Okay, let's go to Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG and the PNG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then go to Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then the files you want are in the 01 Cricut version folder. If you're using a Silhouette or a Scan and Cut, head to craftwithsarah.com/help for separate videos on which files to choose for your particular type of machine. I'll go into 01 Cricut version, and there are two files in here. One of them starts PNG. This is the printable to make all of the pictures appear in the windows of the castle. The other one starts SVG in the file name, and that's the cut file to make up the rest of the card. We'll start with that one, so I'll drag it in, and this is what it looks like. Press Continue, and then Upload. You can close out of the window on the left by clicking the arrow about halfway down the page. At the moment, it looks like there's nothing in any of those windows. That's because we need to upload that other file to get those to appear. The file should load in at 10 inches wide and 7 inches tall, which will make a 5 by 7 inch card front. If yours comes in differently, resize it to match. The pink shape here is the one that will be cut from your craft foam to give the wheel a little bit of extra stability so it's easier to turn. We also need to upload the PNG file, so we'll do that now. Go back to Upload and Upload Image. This time, drag in the file that starts PNG in the file name, and it looks like this. Press Continue, and you don't need to change anything on this screen. Press Apply and Continue. On this screen, choose the third option, Flat Graphic. Then press Continue. Once again, nothing to change on this screen, just press Upload. You'll probably find that the image loads in really large on your project, which mine has done. You see that's bigger than the card is going to be. So we'll need to resize it to match the wheel over here. Click on your card and ungroup the layers by pressing the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. Then click onto the wheel to see the size. It should be 4.2 inches. You can then either resize your wheel so it's exactly the same, 4.2, in which case you won't be able to see any of the wheel from the top, or what I prefer is to make it slightly smaller so that it's just a little bit, you're not going to accidentally kind of bend or damage the edges of this if it's slightly smaller than the wheel. So I'm going to go for 4.1 inches by 4.1. And then you'll be able to see just that smallest bit. It's hardly noticeable at all, but it will make it just a little bit safer to know that you're not going to damage the edges of this piece of card. So this one will be done on the print and cut. This one will be cut from your craft foam. If you don't have the deep point blade or the knife blade that I was showing at the start of this video, then here's what you can do instead. Hide or delete the pink layer, and then click on the printable one and duplicate it with the duplicate button at the top of the layers panel. Under operation, change it to cut and then a basic cut, and then we'll change that to pink. And then cut this from cardstock and then draw around it onto your craft foam, and then you can cut it out with scissors or with a craft knife. And then for the middle bit, just poke a weeding tool or something through the middle to get a hole. Again, it's easier if you're drawing around this onto your foam to cut it by hand. Make sure you fill in the dot as well, so that when you do poke the hole through, it is exactly in the middle. But I'm going to do mine with my Cricut because I've got those blades, so I'll turn that one back on. To make the card base easier to fold, we can add a score line down the middle. So we'll go to Shapes, choose a score line and set it to 7 inches tall. Drag a box that touches just the score line and the base card. You can see they're selected in the Layers panel. And then press Align, Center to put the score line in the middle. You can't actually see it right now because the score line is black and the card is also black. If you want to check it's definitely right, you can click on the card and change it to a random colour just for a moment to see the score line. But that's looking good, so I'll put it back to black. Then select both those layers and press the Attach button at the bottom of the Layers panel. Attach is what tells the Cricut we want it to do the scoring on this bit of card. Attach can then move back to the top of the Layers panel. There has been a recent Design Space update where it doesn't always move it, so it may or may not do that. But if it does, you can press Arrange, Center Back to put it back if you want to. And that's it, we're ready to cut. So I'll go ahead and press Make. I'm not going to worry about saving it. And then this will be the print then cut. We'll go through that in a moment. And then all your other pieces will be from cardstock, apart from the pink, which will be either from foam or you will cut it from cardstock and trace around it onto a piece of foam. You can change the paper size if you want to in here. And then you can drag and drop to move things about. Next up, I'll show you how you can print then cut on your Cricut machine. I'm using a video clip from an older print then cut video, so you'll notice that the image you're about to see on the screen is not this rainbow wheel with all the Halloween pictures, it's something different. But don't worry, the steps are exactly the same for doing it with this project as it was on the one you're about to see. When you start the cut process, there'll be an option that says Send to Printer on a green button. Click that and it will open up the print settings. You might see a message telling you that sensor marks have been added. This is part of those new updates to the print and cut process I was just talking about. You don't need to do anything on here, just press Next. If you don't want to see this message every time you do a print and cut, tick the box where it says Don't show this again. Then you'll see the print setup box. Now this part is important. Choose the correct printer in the drop-down, and where it says Add Bleed, turn that on. So toggle it so that you show the green as in my image. Bleed adds a little bit of extra colour around all of the edges, and it means that if your print and cut was slightly off and it didn't quite cut right, you won't end up with white edges of cardstock along the sides. It will still be printed and pretty. Also, make sure you turn Use System Dialog on. That means after you click the print button, it will open up your printer settings so that you can make sure you're printing on the best quality. So this is loaded at my printer box where I can then go and click the Preferences button to open the settings. This box will look a little bit different depending on what type of computer you've got and what type of printer you've got. So if yours looks different to mine, don't worry, just try and find where to open your printer settings where you can change the paper type and also the quality. For me, that's clicking the Preferences button. Here are my printing preferences. Under media type, I've changed it to glossy photo paper, which is the type of paper I'm using. You can also use matte photo paper if you prefer, or lightweight cardstock. And then if there's an option on there for print quality, which mine does have, change it to high. Whatever the highest setting is, or the best setting in there, or top quality, however it describes it, whichever one you think sounds like it's going to be the best option, as in the highest quality option, go for that. For me, that's the option called High under Print Quality. Then hit OK and print, and we're ready to go. After you've sent your document to print, you'll then get this box. Again, this is something a little bit new. It says Verify Print Quality, and it gives you some steps on there to make sure it's printed exactly as it should. You might find when you're doing your print then cut or before you start, you get a pop-up appear asking you to calibrate your cutting machine. It's up to you if you decide to follow that process through or not. If you've not done print and cut for a long time, it is kind of a good idea to get your machine calibrated for the best possible quality cut. If you decide to do the calibration process, it tells you everything you need to know on the screen. I haven't recorded that separately, but the steps are really self-explanatory and it's easy to do. It does take a little while though, so if you're in a bit of a rush, you might want to skip that step. Full disclosure, I did skip the calibration and mine cut fine, but I could have just been lucky. Who knows? Start by getting your foam circle and your print and cut image, and we're going to glue the circle onto the foam. I'm using Barely Art glue, but I also like Collal. The reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. You'll be able to see a slight amount of those edges around the side, and that's fine. If your circles aren't quite lined up in the middle, just use a weeding tool to make sure that your foam has that in the middle. Then take your split pen and get the front of the card. I'm going to fold it down the score line. And then the front of the card is the one with the teeny tiny hole cut out of it. Take your split pen and go through the hole in the middle of the circle. And then also go through the hole in the front of the card. Turn it so you're looking at the inside and open up the legs on your split pen like that. Now we'll hold that in place and you can see your wheel turns around beautifully. We've then got this piece which will go on top, and this needs some foam squares to be able to get it in exactly the right place. Here are the foam squares I'm using. You can either use 2mm or 3mm. 2mm will make it the same height as the foam on there, but that should be absolutely fine. 3mm will make it a little bit taller, so it will be easier to turn the wheel. It's completely up to you what you use. I'm going to use the 3mm ones because I have lots of them as I bought them by mistake. Normally I don't use them this thick, but it'll work out alright for this card. When you're adding the foam to the back of this piece, you need to make sure that none will go anywhere where the wheel is going to touch, otherwise it won't turn. So you could, which might be easier, put the foam directly onto the card. Just bear in mind that it doesn't go all the way to the very edge. You see there will be a border of the black along there, so keep that in mind. I'm just wondering how far down that goes. Okay, I could probably fit one more, a little bit up there. And there. When you've got your foam squares on, peel the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Stick it on so that you get an even amount of the black showing around all of the sides. This is the bit I find the hardest. That's better. Okay, there we go. And then you'll be able to see as you turn, you get different images appear in the windows at different times. And it all changes colour as well because of all of those rainbow bits on the edge of the card. Now we've got the haunted house to make up. There are lots of layers in this. I'm going to start at the bottom with this black piece, which will be glued straight onto the card. This card will end up very thick, so it probably won't go in an envelope. Instead, you can use a presentation box. I've got a free download and tutorial on how to make presentation boxes with your Cricut machine. You can find that on the schedule page for this Halloween craft countdown, and then look in the foundation learning box at the top of the page. Next up, we've got this green bit, which will be glued as well. And stick down. Next up is this piece, also to glue, but before we glue it on, turn it upside down, add a bit of glue around the door, and take the rectangular piece of yellow and stick that over to hide all of the gaps. Next up is the purple for the front. You could use foam squares for this one, but that will make your card super duper thick. I'm going to keep it with the glue. And then we've got this one to go over the top. Then all these tiny bits to go across the tops of the houses. The very long bit goes along the bottom there. These are quite thin. And then we've got the smallest rectangle without the patterned edges. That goes right here along the top, under the railings. And then the other bit that's got the kind of jagged edges on the sides is next. That goes here between these top two windows. And then the other bits go to the left and the right of that window. And I appear to be missing one, which should be this one. Oh no, I've got everything else cut out. I must have lost it along the way. Okay, I'm going to have to recut that one, but just pretend that you've got another piece and yours will be glued there above the door. I wonder if it was maybe that bit, but then there should be a bit for there as well. So I'm going to go find that and recut that one. But for now, I'm just going to carry on. You can just imagine what it looks like with that bit on there. Okay, foam square. Actually, do I want a foam square? That'll make it tall. I'm going to change my mind on that one and just glue it, actually. Dab of glue up there, so the moon. And then the bats can be positioned wherever you want them to go. They are quite small. Tiny little bits of glue. Overlapping the moon. There are 4 in total. There we are. I think I've done this in a different order to what they are on the design, but never mind. Oh, that was messy. If you're worried about being messy with your glue, you could cut the bats from adhesive vinyl, black adhesive vinyl, and put them on like stickers instead. But that's okay. And there we go. There's my haunted house turn the wheel card. All of those little pictures appear as it's turned around. It's so clever. I love how it turned out, and especially how all those colours kind of come round as well. It's a little bit unusual, a little bit interactive, and a whole lot of fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make this turn the wheel haunted house card for Halloween. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Halloween crafts and Cricut fun. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 4 of the Halloween craft countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!